quick, man, for you guys. If you guys like the videos and everything, head over to illegalovalradio.com. Give that a look, see what you think. If you like it, cool. If you don't, I am looking for trustworthy people to write on the page if they would like. Give me a shout out, inbox me, whatever. Let me know if you're interested. It's not like a full-time paying job or something, but just somebody, they got an opinion or they want to post something, post some news or whatever. We can kind of collaborate, so we're not like double posting and stuff like that. But just a few people to just help keep the page up, and bring some friends to it or whatnot. You know what I mean? It's all right. There's not a lot of followers. You know what I mean? It's not a huge page. I got more followers on YouTube. But anyhow, I'm gonna get on with it, get it started here. And I think this is really, really, really cool of Pat Healy. Pat Healy, I like the guy. He's a good, classy guy, man. I like him. Good fighter. I don't think, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm not trying to insult the guy or anything. I don't think he was really ready for the Melendez title shot. I said this in past videos, man, and it's not an insult, man. I just don't think he was ready for it, So maybe it might be a blessing in disguise that Gilbert's injured and couldn't do the fight. Him and Melendez were set up to fight in the past too, and it didn't happen. So, just seems like whatever happens, it like I've said before, man. And I'm not ragging on Pat Healy at all. I don't think Pat Healy was ready for a Gilbert Melendez. I like Pat Healy. I think he's a good, tough fighter, man. Tough fighter. And I like him. He's training with the right guys. He's training with BJ Penn, you know what I mean? But I just don't think he was ready for that shot with Melendez. But anyway, man, Pat Healy came out and said about Gilbert calling the fight off, due to the reoccurring shoulder injury or whatever. This is what he said on his Twitter account, which is classy as hell and cool as hell, man. And I got a lot of respect for the guy for saying this. Melendez is a class act. Hit me up and apologized last night. A lot of you guys probably know about this already, but I'm just bringing it to light. Everyone's upset, but that's not where the blame should go. So he's saying, people don't blame Gilbert. Shit happens. And we all know it, man. Injuries happen. Man, this year dwarfs 2009. 2009 was a tough year, man. Okay, what it looks like, the new matchup for the card Strikeforce Champions, which is the one that will happen in January. I believe it's the 12th. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's the 12th. That is the final show. It's Pat Healy taking on Jorge Masvidal for Strikeforce Champions. I'm going to go ahead and bank on Jorge Masvidal, but I think it should be a pretty good fight because Pat Healy should have a pretty good idea. You know what I mean? He's still got time. You know what I mean? We're still 6 weeks out. So he's got some time to adjust for a new fighter, still finish up his training camp, stuff like that, and still have time to rest. So Masvidal is 23-7. Healy, I think, is 28-16, something like that. I know that's pretty damn close. Yeah, 28-16. Come on, eat your food. Come on, eat your food. So anyway, that's what's happening. Healy is going to be taking on Jorge Masvidal, which I like the fight. I like it a lot better than the Gilbert Melendez fight. Even though I think Gilbert Melendez has some stuff to prove. I'm not going to say, I'm going to agree with Pat. He's a classy guy. He's a damn good fighter. Good champion. So, I'm not going to, rag on the guy by any means. I think when it comes to like a UFC kind of roster, I think he's got some stuff to prove. And whether he knows it or not, I don't know. Let's look at the card as is right now. And I'm talking about Strikeforce Champions with me January 12th. 2013. Luke Rockhold has called off, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know about that, which sucks. Lorenz Larkin still without an opponent. And I guess he's still got enough time to, adjust. It's a pretty damn good looking card right now. I mean, let's just run down it real quick. I think Nate Marquardt and Tarek Safadine are going to be brought to either that or Daniel Cormier and Deion Staring will be brought to the main event. Pushed up there. It could be Mike Kyle and Gegard Mousasi because that's it's a damn good match too, man. Gegard Mousasi, that's another thing too. Headed to UFC, that's badass, man. This will probably be his last Strikeforce fight. Obviously, his last Strikeforce fight. To finish out his career, or finish out his Strikeforce career. And then there is talks. His camp, his management, and everything are in talks right now of getting him over to the UFC, man. And there's a couple guys that have been commenting on that post, man, leaving comments and stuff like that in the guard moving to UFC video that I did, man. I want to tell you guys, man, I appreciate it, man. Keep the comments coming, man. A couple of subs too. I appreciate that too, guys. Thanks, big time. And I will give some shout outs because you guys know who you are, and I will give some shout outs probably in the next video. But yeah, it's Nate Marquardt taking on Tarek Saffiedine. Kick-ass fight. It's a cool fight. I like Tarek Saffiedine a lot. I think he's a little underexperienced when it comes to a Nate Marquardt. That's just my opinion. Daniel Cormier taking on Dion Starring. I don't know a lot about Dion. I really don't. So that's going to be new for me. The guy could be a fucking brick shit house and could come in here. You know, like I said, man, I really don't know a lot about the guy, but I know a lot about Cormier, and Cormier ain't no fucking joke. Grand Prix champion, collegiate badass wrestler. I mean, the guy. I mean, Josh Barnett is known for his wrestling and his submissions, you know, and then his striking. You know what I mean? And he's scored some good knockouts in his career. And Daniel Cormier just made him look like a beginner wrestler. I mean, this guy is top notch when it comes to a good wrestler. That's just hands down, man, hands down. Mike Kyle taking on Gegard Mousasi. That should be a cool fight. I see Gegard probably either winning that by knockout or submission. I mean, that's just it, man. I mean, Mike Kyle, I think his last showing in Strikeforce was a very, 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 very short knockout. He got knocked out really, really fast. And it sucks, but, hey, man, shit happens. You know what I mean? You got to come in there prepared for anything. You know, and I'm not saying he wasn't. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just a luck of the draw that makes that shit happen. Sometimes it's just plain skill that does it. But Ryan Couture taking on KJ Nunes. I think that's a huge step up for Ryan Couture, man. I wouldn't be surprised if KJ Nunes was able to turn it into a slugfest, or maybe beat up Ryan a little bit. But if Ryan can last maybe a couple rounds in, he might be able to pull off a submission. I guess it really just depends what Ryan Couture has trained for. Because, I mean, KJ Nunes has been in there a while, you know what I mean? But I'd say Ryan Couture's got some really good, a great camp under his belt. I mean, for obvious reasons, you know. You guys know what I'm talking about. Right now, it's a great card, even with the cancellations. I mean, the injuries, you know what I mean? Rockhold is out. Gilbert Melendez is out, you know what I mean? Right now, with the 5 fights I just talked about, it's a great card already. And there's probably going to be a few more added to it, you know. And I know there are others on it that aren't listed, at least in the listing that I'm looking at. So it's going to stand to be a badass night and a great exit, man, for Strikeforce to close the doors, shut down shop, get these guys onto different things, man. Some of these guys onto bigger and better things. Some of these guys, we're gonna see a good chunk of fighters going to Bellator. I'll tell you that, man, for sure. But it sucks, but at the same time, it's an exciting move because a lot of top tier fighters that we see in Strikeforce are going to be making that move to the big show. You know, I mean, that I think as a whole sucks, but at the same time, it's time, man. It's time. You know, the big boss, man, is coming in and bought him up, and just like WEC and Pride, man, we saw it happen before, so here it is again. You know, it's January's it, man. That's it. So BJ Penn. A lot of people out there are saying, man, he's just cut up. I'm totally ready for more Rory McDonald. I'm going to throw this out there, but what do you guys think, man? Because I really like Rory McDonald. He's obviously just amazing fighter with what he's done in the UFC. Him calling BJ Penn out, BJ Penn saying, hell yeah, I'll do this, you know, and jumping in and agreeing to the fight, you know, coming out of retirement to do it. What do you guys think of it, man? You think Rory's barking up the wrong tree, or you think he's got what it takes? You know, because BJ Penn, a lot of people are saying BJ Penn is in the best shape we've seen him in years. He's cut up. He's in great shape. It's one little question if you guys want to comment on it, or anything else you want to comment on, it's fine. UFC on Fuel TV will be returning to London. Just a little tidbit of news for you. Chael Sonnen will return as the host of World MMA Awards. I don't know where it's taking place or what, you know, I'm just reading. This is basically just a headline, and I'm not looking deep into it. If there's any fight fans out there that are just way behind, Ultimate Fighter will be opposite John Jones. Sure, Chael Sonnen has done a lot. I think he's done mostly with his mouth, but he's the kind of guy that steps up and takes the fight. This is something that Dana said maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, and because of all the injuries, a ton of guys to step in and take fights for me, and Chet Congo has turned down fights, which they all had valid excuses. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say that they all had valid excuses for not taking the fights, but they got so much shit for it. John Jones got a ton of shit for not taking a fight with Chael Sonnen. I think it was 2 weeks notice or something like that, maybe 3. But got a ton of shit for that. It's like, I see a lot of the points where people give him shit about it. I see a lot of the points where people are backing him. I'm not saying I'm on the fence, but I understand. You know what I mean? I kind of agree with him. It's like, well, here I have the belt. I got to do what I have to do to protect me having the belt. But at the same time, other people on the other side are like, well, wait a minute. You're the fucking champion. If you're going to prove that you're the champion, get in there and kick some ass. It's in the mindset of a fighter. I mean, I believe, I can't say that from experience, but I mean, I believe that's easier said than done. You have to really prepare for a certain style of fighter, and if you got your eye on the prize of one certain fighter, and then you got to totally change that, and it sets you back at square one, man, and it sucks. And I understand it, man. I totally understand it. But I mean, I do see both sides of it. Some people are pissed about him not taking that fight, or some guys not stepping in and taking this fight because they want to see somebody fight or whatever. Getting off point here, but you guys know what I'm saying. I mean, there's Dana's commented. There's a lot of guys that I've called out to. Hey, we got to make this card complete. And that's thus the reason for canceling the last card with Jones defending the belt. They just said, fuck it, man. Close up, what was it, 150, I think? 150 or 151. And it just went straight through to the next one. I mean, there was no renaming the next one or anything. It's like there's a gap in now, a gap in the UFC shows. It goes to 150 and then goes to 152. I believe it was 151. Don't quote me on that, man. It's too much stuff to think about, man. There's so much news, so much shit going on every single day in MMA. It's too much shit to keep track of, especially if you work long hours and a lot of shit going on outside of work as well. So, but I'm just a huge fan of this. That's why I do these videos. But go on, buddy. Go on, bud. Yeah, I got somebody totally bugging right now. Yeah, no television plans have been announced for the event. Previously been broadcast on Versus, Fuel TV, and Fox Sports. So, that's MMA awards. It's not UFC awards. So, which obviously I can respect that. But I mean, they really did have their hand in UFC's pants when it came to the last time around. 21 categories are voted by fans for the World MMA Awards, including Fighter of the Year, Team of the Year, and Fight of the Year. There were a couple of spots on there, I remember the last time around, where Dana was a little pissed about, and you could tell it, but of course he didn't say anything about it, because it's like, well, not everything is going to shine for your promotion, man, just because you're who you are and you're everywhere. You ain't got a choice to be everywhere. You feel that you have to be everywhere. Have your dick in everything, but I mean, enough of the MMA awards, man, for sure. Team Black Zillions will be on Fuel TV in a special called Training Day Special on Wednesday. That may have actually already happened now that I think about it. So maybe it's maybe tomorrow. Could be happening tomorrow. So check it out. Fuel TV tomorrow. Check your schedule, your listings, all that good stuff. Because I'm Eastern Standard Time. You guys can be totally different, so I don't want to say a time. And Alistair Overeem facing Antonio Silva. Confirmed for 156. Yes! Finally, suspension will be over. You know what, man? I still think the guy is worthy of at least let the guy come back. If he gets through this fight, let him get through the next fight. And if all tests are good, maybe the guy's finally learned his fucking lesson. Because other than that, it's like, dude, cut the fucking PEDs, whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Cut the shit out already. You fail a test, you fail a test, man. He deserved what was coming to him. And he had a year off. Here we are, December. It's over. He's at 156, which should be, late January, early February, somewhere in there. Here we go, man. Here we go. I'm excited to see him coming back, and I don't think Antonio Silva's going to really... I think it's going to be a lucky show for Antonio Silva if he were to take it. You have to get off very quick with a very, hard shot and a very unprepared Alistair Overeem, I think, in order for him to knock Overeem out. We all know Overeem doesn't have the greatest chin in the world. We've seen him get knocked the fuck out, man. We've seen it. He's very prepared and very good with... He's been stunned. We've seen him stunned. You know what I mean? He's good with the roller skates. You know what I mean? He's good at keeping his whereabouts when he gets rambled. You know what I mean? He's out of sorts. He's pretty good at it. You know what I mean? Because he's I think it was 2011. It was like he had like 3 belts, something like that. It was bad. It was an awesome year for Alistair Overeem. 2012 was a whole new year for him, and fucking PEDs or whatever the hell he was doing, horse meat with steroid injections or something like that or whatever. Maybe you figured it wouldn't show up. Inject a horse first. I don't know. But Bellator to begin using championship rematches in 2013. Bjorn Rebney confirmed that immediate championship rematches will be given on as-needed basis beginning in 2013. Starting this January, Bellator will be seen on Spike TV, give us some of the greatest moments in MMA, and rematches of incredible championship fights will give fans like us more of those electrifying moments while staying true to the world's best fighters having had to earn their way to those title shots. That could be really, really cool, but at the same time it could be really, really stupid because you could have, a fan favorite come in and take on a champion and do really, really poorly and get his ass kicked, but he'll get the rematch because he's a fan favorite. That's pretty fucking stupid. And I can see it happen in the UFC, but here we are, Bellator's doing the same thing. Bellator typically crowns #1 contender through a season-long tournament. That decision kept the company from signing rematches such as Michael Chandler, Eddie Alvarez for the Bellator lightweight title. So why they didn't have that rematch, who knows? I mean, I don't know, whatever. I think Eddie Alvarez I think it's a good chance he's headed elsewhere. I think you're all headed elsewhere, man, really. I mean, once the contracts are up, who's not staring down their fucking, staring down their throats? But at the same time, like I said in other videos, man, I think some of the fighters are tired of the whole you need to do exactly what I say and you need to do what I say now. I think a lot of fighters are tired of that shit. When I say jump, you say how high. I think a lot of fighters are tired of that shit. I'm not sitting here saying that, the injuries aren't fucking real. They probably are. But at the same time, it's just proof positive that fighters are having to train way too hard these days. You got to train way too hard, man, in order to get anywhere. Or you're so damn scared that you train too hard because you feel that if you lose, you're cut. And you're going to be fucking cut in the UFC. So fucking sucks, man. Fucking really sucks. Let's take a look ahead, man, at some future cards or something like that. Let's take a look at some more news. Strikeforce middleweight champion Luke Rockhold has been forced out of his second planned fight with Lorenz Larkin. I mean, as it looks, man, this should be a really cool fight, man. I don't think Lorenz Larkin's got nearly the experience of a Luke Rockhold, but recently Larkin has posted a couple little words about Rockhold, calling him out in recent interviews over his decision to sign the contract but not make the fight happen. While Rockhold has heard enough and fired back via Twitter. At DeMonsoon, which I take it is, he says right here in highlight, Lorenz Larkin. At DeMonsoon on Twitter, that's his name. So if you guys want to fire some stuff at him or say something. But at DeMonsoon, I want nothing more to fight you, but I'm not going to fight anyone one-handed. Shut your mouth and know your place. Rightfully said, really, because I think Rockhold would fuck Larkin up. That's just my opinion, man. I could be wrong, but if somebody comes out and says I'm dead wrong without comment or without reason, you're just a Larkin nut hugger or whatever. Come on, man, Larkin. We've seen Larkin on the ends of both ends. We've seen Rockhold do really, really well as of lately, in the last year or two. Guy's cemented a nice fucking career lately. I mean, we can't, there's no two ways about it, man. The guy's a solid badass, just same as Josh Thompson. I think Josh Thompson beat Gilbert Melendez in that fight. You guys know what fight I'm talking about. It's the most recent one. I think he beat him in that fight. But, you know what, the judges, like I said, man, like I've said in past videos, man, I watched that fight once. And sometimes when you watch a fight back the second time, you might see it differently, and that happens. I think he took that fight. I think he did what he had to do to take that fight. Now watch that fight carefully the first time, and I think it was like a first round Gilbert, second 2 rounds. I think it was Gilbert the fifth. You know what I mean? I think it was like a 3-2. You know what I mean? Josh Thompson took 3 rounds. Gilbert took 2 by a small margin. It was a very close fight, man. I will say that it was a very close fight. But I think Josh Thompson just took it, man. I really do. I think he took that fight, did enough to take that fight from the champion. If you disagree, man, say so, man. I'm not saying I'm the know-all, be-all, end of everything, man. Fuck, man, I don't know everything. It remains unknown when Rockhold will be back. Though he would like to do so in the UFC, Larkin's status for January remains a mystery. We could see them two square up in the UFC. You never know. One thing I will give respect on is Dana will try to make fights happen that people want to see. I mean, I got to give the guy that. Even though he's a bit, I am Lord, you will listen to me, and I will stamp your guts into the curb if you lose 2 or more fights, unless you're from somewhere that I need recognition or something like that. I'm kidding, man. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Larkin or a Rockhold both in UFC to square up and get this shit done, because that's what UFC's about. I think, man. Let's bring these guys together, even though they might make them wait 3-4 fights in order to get this fight on, to make sure so and so is going to be ready for the next guy. Because I think if anything, Lorenz Larkin may need a little more, especially at the time of entering the UFC if he gets there. He may need a little more testing to make sure he's ready for a Rockhold. Because personally, Strikeforce being ready to close their doors, I don't think, I said this before, I'll say it again, man. I don't think Healy was ready for a Melendez. I just don't see it. And same thing goes here. I don't think Lorenz Larkin was ready for a Rockhold. I don't see it. And I think the talent level, the experience, I just don't think it was there. I think the reason why those fights were put together is because we don't have anybody else, so let's put these 2 guys together because they were the best of the best in that weight class. So without beating around the bush, let's just put on the best card that we can, and that's what happened. Like, let's say if Anderson Silva was in Strikeforce, and they were the same weight class, who would they pick? They'd pick Anderson Silva before they'd pick fucking Pat Healy to take on Gilbert Melendez. Of course they would. It was the same weight class, but it's not. But I'm just saying, that's my point. There was nobody better. Lorenz Larkin and Pat Healy, there was no one better at that point in Strikeforce. So let's put on those fights against the champions so we can have a huge championship card and go out with a bang. That's what they were looking for. Go out with a bang, obviously, man. Go out with a bang, and it just didn't happen, man. Through injuries and whatnot, obviously, it just didn't happen. I'm not even saying Luke Rockhold was going to want this to happen, but, I mean, why would Luke Rockhold dive into a fucking fight like this while not being 100%? Why would he want to dive into a fight like this with a guy that's not at his level? I'm not ragging on a Larkin, man. I like him. He's a sharp, man. He's very sharp. Great striker. You know what I mean? But there is a bit of experience that he's lacking in. A little bit of news, man. A little bit of news for you guys. Hopefully you guys dig it. Like I said, man, LegalOvalRadio.com. We're looking for writers for the page. If you guys want to jump aboard, it'd be awesome. I don't want to guarantee anything. It's not like a paying job or something like that. It's just something we have fun with. Just some good honest opinions of the sport. News you want to give out. Say you want to do a video or something like that. By all means, man, do a video. Inbox me if you're interested in writing for LegalElbowRadio.com. I've put a good amount into it in terms of just having a decent page for news and whatnot. I got a lot of shit going on outside. That's why I'm looking for people that want to jump on board and help write some articles and keep the page active. Bring people aboard. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking like I said, man, it's not a paying job. It's not something I'm looking to make profit off somebody else's work. Post me a message if you're interested. That'd be great, man. We'll talk to you guys soon, man. If you haven't subbed yet, please do so. Like I said, man, shout out to the people that have been subbing and commenting on videos, stuff like that. I really, really appreciate it, man. Very cool of you guys. So I will see you guys soon, man. Thanks.